Okay guys, this year's Evo Enduro 2019, we have these teams participating, and together with them, you will stand a chance to win a Proton X70, 38,000 ringgit cash. Yes, these are real money over here, and 2-person gets to win this, and another 10-person will be able to win 8,000 ringgit cash. All you need to do is just to buy their products from a minimum spending of 5 ringgit. To know how to enter, all you need to do is just to WhatsApp your receipt of your product and answer a simple question to this number. To understand further, go to this website to know about all these products and how to enter. Menang, menang, menang!
Menang!
Alright.
Again, Con?
Make noodle lah.
Hi guys, so now I'm reviewing the all-new Mazda 3, and the variant of the Mazda 3 that I'm driving now is the 2-liter high-spec sedan. They call this the high-spec, but really it is the middle child of the range. It is above the 1.5-liter model, but below the 2-liter high plus model. And interestingly, this trim level is only available as a sedan. The 1.5 as well as the 2-liter high plus are both available as sedan or hatchbacks. So spec wise, it is a big step up from the 1.5, but it gives you most of what you get with the high plus model, except for you lose out on, most notably the important things, you lose out on eye active sense, right? You lose out on you don't get the full LED headlights. What you get here is you get an LED projector headlamp with halogen daytime running lights. You also get smaller rims, all right, 16 inches here versus 18s in the 2-liter high plus model. But that aside, right, everything else is pretty sufficient. You get reverse camera, you get full safety features, 7 airbags, electronic stability control, pedal shift, keyless entry, some more, electric seat adjustment for the driver, rear air con vents. So this is not to say a poverty spec car at all. It isn't. But at 150,000 ringgit, consumer expectations will naturally be higher. Okay, but let me just tell you this: the 150,000 ringgit you pay for this car, it does not just go to all these toys that you play with on the move, or whatever features that you see in your eye. It also goes to a lot of the things that you don't see, the engineering under the chassis, the way Mazda fine-tune all of the NVH. The refinement of this car is so substantially improved from the predecessor that when you drive it back to back, you just suddenly realize, fuck, the previous Mazda 3 is such a noisy car when driven back to back against this one, of course. Now, then the handling, right, is also been improved, and this is of course a surprise given that this car supposedly uses a less sophisticated torsion beam setup. Now, I think I've said this before. I've always had this little doubt when your car has a rear torsion beam, simply because the laws of physics tell you that when your rear wheels are bonded together with one solid axle, okay, any disturbance that you apply to the right wheel affects the left wheel. That is one thing. Then there is also the increased unsprung weight of the torsion beam versus a multi-link, that when you hit something, all right, particularly when you are cornering hard, when your rear wheels hit something, it is far easier for your car to lose composure or grip as when your rear wheels are disturbed. But there is also the argument that it is not merely what you have, it's how you use it. So the one characteristic about cars with torsion beam that I noticed is that they seem to have keener turn in versus cars with multi-link rears. It's simply put because multi-links track better, all right, when you corner. So the rear end of a car with multi-link does not shift laterally quite so easily. So yeah, when that is the one thing about multi-link suspension, is that when you corner, the rear end has very, very harmonious behavior. But still, when you have a torsion beam, okay, for when the engineers do their homework, what some engineers can do is that they make use of the torsion beam's tendency, all right, or ability, use your choice of words, to give a that there's a bit looser at the back. What it does is that they allow the rear to shift a bit and point your front into the corner more acutely. So what you as the driver get is that you feel what seems to be a keener turn in, a more responsive, a car that turns, right, more quickly. Yeah. So the other thing is that the tires that come with this car, they are not the grippiest tires around, okay? But well, there's something that most of the time I would say there's something that is easy to rectify in the aftermarket. Then I remember that this is running on what, 205/50 or 205/60 16s. Not a lot of choices when it comes to performance tires, unfortunately. But still, what I also want to highlight is that despite the tires seemingly struggling for grip as I flung this car around the bends, I noticed there was no sense of nervousness from the chassis. The chassis communicates to me in such a way that, it's as if it's telling me that, dude, don't worry, just go, I've got this. I know it feels scary, but keep going, I've got this. It gives you that kind of confidence. And you know that Mazda is a car maker that they always pay attention to the way your body reacts and feels when you are driving. So driver feedback is something that Mazda pays a lot of attention to, and you can be assured that is taken care of with this new 3. So in this new Mazda 3 with the torsion beam, right? So around bends, the car turns in sharper. Right, it turns in sharper because the engineers are able to harness the torsion beam's tendency to shift about a bit to point the nose in sharper. All right, point the nose in more. But there are also some of the typical vices of a torsion beam that you can't avoid. Firstly is bump steer. So when you hit a corner mid bump, okay, you have to be mindful that the rear will hop a bit, but it is a very, very slight hop. It probably doesn't even affect your driving. Second thing is that when you go over a bump, even on a straight line, the rear end does bounce a bit more, simply because that when you go over a bump, the whole weight of the torsion beam is being pushed up against your chassis. So you will feel the back being pushed up a bit more versus that of a multi-link. A multi-link suspension setup, when you go over a bump, the wheels just soak it up without any interference to the chassis. So you can't have everything your way, but overall, definitely, I think Mazda, they have done their homework. They have engineered a fantastic chassis into this new Mazda 3. It's such a lovely and confidence-inspiring car to drive. And one thing that caught me by surprise when I was driving this around town is not only the improved refinement and noise levels, but also the comfort. And this was something that I was not able to detect during our preview session in Japan, because the track there was so well surfaced that everything just felt smooth. But yesterday when I collected this car from Bobby's house, driving along Old Klang Road, Taman Desa, back to Petaling Jaya, right, it's like, wow, okay, hey, the Mazda engineers, they have worked on the right comfort of this car. This car feels actually decently comfortable on the move. The ride, there is a plushness to the ride. So we move on to the engine and the suspension. Now, the engine is a carryover item from the predecessor 2-liter Skyactiv G, mated to a 6-speed torque converter automatic. Same setup as before, but of course it would refine for this, improve with minor incremental improvements applied. So it is for a naturally aspirated powertrain, very lively. It's very torquey in the mid-range. It pulls smoothly, and it is one of those engines that you are just happy to rev along. It is a very eager to work engine. Okay, so there are also questions amongst some that, hey, why this car does not have Skyactiv X, right? The new Mazda's latest generation compression ignition petrol engine. Well, let's put it this way: the whole ASEAN region does not get Skyactiv X. Skyactiv X is just not available in this region at all. Not Singapore, not Thailand, not Brunei, and certainly not Malaysia. So the reason being is that the fuel quality in this region for Skyactiv X, tak boleh, cannot do. So coming back to the Skyactiv G engine, this engine it pulls well. It pulls linearly, good spread of torque across the range, right? It's not beefy like a turbocharged engine, but it's responsive, and the 6-speed automatic transmission does its fair job to keep the engine going, and it is very intelligent. It reads your driving behavior well, and so much so that actually there was a time that when I noticed that even when I was taking a few fast corners in quick succession, it knows that I was trying to string a series of bends, and it just held the gears. It did not upshift. So yeah, very intelligent transmission, very intuitive. It has a sport mode, but I don't recommend using sport mode unless you are going serious balls out driving, because for town driving, the sport mode setting can be rather aggressive and holds on a gear a little too long. But for spirited driving, sport mode is absolutely fantastic. So this new Mazda 3 is not cheap, and well, it's so this new Mazda 3 is not cheap, and there are many reasons why. Firstly, it's fully imported, but also as you drive this car, you sit inside, you touch and feel everything inside this car. That's when you realize that, hey, Mazda seems to have spent quite a lot of money building this. So there is no way that this car could be sold profitably anywhere near the price level of its predecessor, and Mazda knows this. That is why Mazda's communication made a lot of effort to emphasize on the premium qualities of the car, the craftsmanship, and it's not empty talk. When you feel the various touch points of this car, it does feel like a premium car, and you know, the kind of effort that they put in to iron all the little details, the fine details. It is the kind of attention to detail that separates premium brands from mainstream. So I mean, at this price range in the C segment, if you are looking for value for money, we have to be honest and say that the Honda Civic is still difficult to argue against. So this is really not a car for everyone, but if you can appreciate the quality that and the thought that goes into making it, then what, 150k, 160k for what they threw into this doesn't seem such a bad deal at all.
So guys, this year Evo Enduro is giving away a Proton X70. So just spend 5 ringgit of stuff from any of our 12 racing teams and you stand a chance to win an X70, 38,000 ringgit in cash, 8,000 ringgit in cash, and other interesting prizes. So check out this URL here for further information.